We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Our guest, Reverend Enoch Fuzz, Corinthian Baptist Church community leader, talking about some of, as you see, escalating violence in Nashville. Your questions and comments. We've got several calls. Let's go next to Jay. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
Nothing. I just had a comment.
Yes.
I'm sitting right here watching you guys, and I just want to say that when I was in school, we had a DARE program. DARE program, everybody in school touched them, and that was the opportunity for the kids to speak with Metro about anything that was going on in home, out of the home, in the neighborhood. And I just think that we need that back in the school building. So if we don't catch it at home, maybe we'll get a phone call home about whatever has occurred or about to occur.
Well,
she got a good point.
Yeah.
TSU started a program. I'm glad to be a part of it. I got a call from TSU saying, call the chief. We want to get something over at TSU. We'd like to have a Citizens Police Academy on the campus. And I said, wow, you can call the chief. He'll do it for you. He said, but no, he'll do it for you. I said, okay, I'll take credit for that one because that's a good idea.
It is a good idea.
Now, the chief called back a couple of days later and he said, Reverend, I don't have the staff to do that. But you're my friend. See the difference friends make? I pulled people from a couple other jobs. So Tennessee State University became the first HBCU in the nation to have a Citizens Police Academy on the campus. That 6-week training. Now, you know what happened? 2 policemen got shot when you did the role playing.
Oh, when they were role-playing during this course they were doing, yeah.
That's right. The policeman played the citizen and the students played the police.
Yeah.
They ended up shooting 2 policemen. So I'd like to hear what their perspectives were that led them to shooting that policeman who was still in his car.
Interesting. Let's go to Jerika. Hi, Jerika.
How you doing?
Hey, what's on your mind, ma'am?
I just had a couple of comments. I had seen Chief Anderson on the news, and he was saying that it wasn't against the law to run from the police. So I didn't understand, if it's not against the law for us to run from the police, why would they chase us? If it's not against the law, you shouldn't chase.
Wow.
And then gentrification is a big issue in our community, and a lot of people have their fathers in jail, and they're not in the household. So that's another issue. And half of the people that are in jail are on nonviolent offenses, and mostly are marijuana charges. We have a big opiate crisis in our city right now, and it's a lot of people that are in jail for really apparently no reason. They go back to jail on parole violations for minor offenses as well, or they're on. They can't pay their court costs, so they put them in jail. And without a father in the home, it's hard for a man to grow up to learn how to be a man. When I was in school, we had programs where you can learn trades. Now we're learning about, we got PE instead of actually training our kids to do something better or what their skills are. And people are not asking us the question of, why are you doing what you're doing? How can I help you stop what you're doing? It's always just sending them to jail.
All right.
She has a point, but
but the problem, and she has the point, but on the other side of it, I mean, people are being sent to jail because they're being convicted of committing crimes. And I'm sorry if that takes a father away from a family, but if he's convicted of a jailable offense, that's the way it is.
If you can afford legal representation, things come out different.
Well, no, that's true. Not everyone has the same access to that.
Poverty and education makes a big difference. And like she said, a lot of people in jail on marijuana charges. I know a bunch of fathers who've been in jail the past 4 and 5 years, man. One father has 6 kids here. Do you know what that's going to cost our system? We've got to come up with another way of doing this. And I'm going to tell you again, unless we increase the size of our law enforcement, crime is going to continue to escalate. It's going to get really bad.
Aside of going on law enforcement, don't you, though, also think we need to find ways to get folks to stop committing these crimes? And if you're saying a lot of it's socioeconomic, we need to vitalize the economy in these areas.
Well, see, one way to do that, by increasing the size of law enforcement, now you've got policemen who've got time to stop and talk to a neighbor.
So they communicate, you get to know them.
Yeah. Right now, the police don't have time to stop and talk to anybody.
And within the African American community, do you think they view police officers differently than Caucasians?
Well, you saw remember the report that came out, 66% approval rating in the black community. It might have went up to like 80-something% in the white community.
Of what?
Of approval of police department.
Okay.
The black community approval ratings of police was 66%. That's an F. Police should say, let's work on that. Not say, well, the average came out to be high. Let's say, let's work on it. Because I'm telling you, I'm walking down the street, Nick, this never happened to you. I'm walking down the street at night and the policeman pulls up and says, can I see your ID? That goes bad with a young African-American kid who don't know police. That could go bad. I'm wondering, why are you pulling up to me asking me for my ID? And that's what really made me get involved with police ComStat meetings. Because that worried me so. That this officer, I'm walking down the sidewalk, and you pull up and say, can I see your ID?
And you weren't doing anything wrong?
No, just walking.
You were walking while black?
Yes. And he says to me, you fit the description of an assailant. And I said, I believe that you're lying. But I'm able to pull out my phone and say, here, call one of these people. And he's, you know, so he wants to know who you are then. But I'm saying to him, young man, I could help you in this neighborhood. Instead of you trying to see, am I doing something wrong, why don't you come and let me get to know your name and you get to know my name.
Yeah. Okay, let's go next to Beverly. Beverly, good morning. Are you there, Bev?
Hey, Bev.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead, Bev.
Hi, I just want to say that violence has been a problem in this society, not only this Tennessee, but all over the world for years and years and years. But right now, one of the problems with the young people is drugs and guns. Okay, and basically we have to really, I know people probably don't want to hear this, but the whole thing is we have strayed away from God so far that there's no going back. So the only way, these problems are not ever going to be solved. The only person that can solve these problems is Jesus. Okay?
Is there no going back? I don't think we're too far gone.
Let me tell you something. Believe it or not, in the African American community, 80% go to church. Wow, isn't that high? You wouldn't think of that. I hear the negatives about that community so much, but this Nashville city has the highest educated African American community in the nation. You're in the top 3. These are great people. A lot of focus goes on the kid with his pants hanging down. A lot of your lead stories are on that too. And people get mad at the news media, say it's negative. But if you watch the news past 10 minutes, you're going to see the good feeling stories too. You hear a lot of good stories in the news.
Unfortunately, they're not always the lead. But you're right if you stick with it. But the image, if people watch the headlines sometimes, this can be pretty darn depressing.
Yeah, but it lasts 5 minutes.
There you go.
And,
well, thank you.
And again, what the lady says about religion, I'm going to tell you again. Poverty, education, if you fix the poverty and you fix the education, then you got to have law enforcement, even for educated people and people who are not poor. They break laws also. But we've got to have enough police to enforce the laws. Now, it's against the law to spit on the sidewalk. Nobody gets shot for doing it.
All right, let's go to Grady. Hi, Grady.
Hey, Grady.
Nick and the Reverend Fuzz. You know, I was raised poor. We were lucky if we could have a piece of bacon and their beans in the project and have potatoes. But, you know, I went through desegregation of the Nashville schools. I've seen, you know, how racist people could be. And when they brought the tank down on Jefferson Street, I remember, you know, how bad I felt for the people that they were bringing the tank down for. But we had police we could respect. We had Joe Casey pull up 10th and Buckhaven, and he just rolled his window down. Boys, you need to disassemble. You need to go somewhere else and not gang up. and 5 minutes later there wouldn't be anybody at 10th and Buchanan. He never had to get out of the car. They knew how fast he was. He could chase them down. But you got to have respect for your policemen. And I wouldn't want the job of going in and telling an 87-year-old woman, like the other day, the other night, and she didn't speak English, and they were telling her to drop the weapon. She didn't know what they were talking about. They still shouting. But I'll hang up with y'all's comment this morning. Good.
Thank you. Thanks, Brady.
Police have got to do some things. It's hard to take criticism. It's hard for me to take criticism of my sermon. Let me tell you, 18 years old, we're in the ghetto in Memphis. Police car pulls up. Hey, let's take a full load downtown. 10 people were arrested. I was one of them. You go to jail on Labor Day Eve. That's terrible. No one should.
What did they arrest you for?
They said gaming.
Was it loiter? Oh, game. You're
gaming.
You guys are playing dice or something out
yeah,
there?
that's
okay.
what. Okay, but nobody was doing that, and none of these people were anyway. The judge, when we went to court, the judge hit the gavel and told the policeman, "You should be ashamed of yourself." Okay, these people weren't doing anything. Right now, that's just one incident. Can you know how that would make someone feel? That you've been stopped by police and you know you weren't doing anything. You wasn't speeding. You were not speeding, but the policeman gave you a ticket anyway. Or the policeman who comes to your house and say, I've got a warrant for you or something. And I said, well, you know, this is ML King holiday. You mean you're open? That's you people's problem. These are things that happen. Or the night that I'm taking my wife to the hospital, emergency, with flashes on and have a flat tire. Policeman comes by and they say, listen, help us change this tire. She's got to go to the hospital. They said, go to a payphone. I was young. I didn't know the police didn't do that. And then I saw years later police change. So when you talk about respecting police, it comes from both sides. I'm a person who seeks to respect everybody. But there's some people out there, if they've gone through those kind of experiences, they would be very angry. So I think I want to say to the chief, let's do away with deadly force in Nashville. I want to say to the DA, 37208, you heard that zip code? The highest incarceration rate in the nation. The DA is concerned about that. I say to him, Glenn, the police arrest people who've done something wrong. You're the prosecutor. You can change the course of that prosecution to make them go into something that's going to benefit the society and them. I've got a young man who turned his life around, but his son was murdered last week, who was still in that, okay? But that young man turned his life around. He got a job, he's working, now he has his own business.
This hurt can happen. Yeah, but he loses a son. It's awful. Listen, take a break on that note. We had to take a break, come back. More of your calls. Our final segment with Reverend Fuzz right after this.